There's a moment that happens in living rooms across America every year. Someone makes their last mortgage payment. They call their kids. They maybe cry a little. They feel an enormous sense of relief and accomplishment. Debt-free. The house is theirs. They did it. And financially, in most cases, they just made a significant mistake. I know how that sounds. Paying off debt feels like the most responsible thing a person can do. It's what our parents told us. It's what financial gurus on daytime television celebrate. Dave Ramsey has built an empire on it. The idea that you should be debt-free, that owing nothing to anyone is the foundation of financial security, it is so culturally embedded that questioning it feels almost immoral. But feelings aren't math, and the math on early mortgage payoff for most American homeowners with a low fixed-rate mortgage is not what you think it is. My name is Larry, and I've spent a lot of time reading things most people don't read. Mortgage amortization tables, historical return data, tax code provisions on mortgage interest deductions. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly when paying off your mortgage early makes sense, when it destroys wealth, and how to tell the difference in your specific situation. Because the answer isn't the same for everyone. But for most people watching this, the math lands in a place that will genuinely surprise you. Let me start with a guy named Robert. Robert is 45. He's got a $280,000 mortgage at 3.25% interest, locked in when rates were low. He has about $1,800 a month in disposable income after expenses, and he's decided he wants to be mortgage-free by 55. So he's throwing every extra dollar at the house. $1,800 a month in extra principal payments. His neighbors think he's brilliant. His coworkers think he's disciplined. Here's what Robert's actually doing. He's taking $1,800 a month and depositing it into an account that pays him 3.25% annually. That's his mortgage interest rate, the cost of the debt. By eliminating it, he earns a guaranteed 3.25% return on every dollar he puts toward principal. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 has returned an average of 10.1% annually since 1926. Inflation adjusted, that's closer to 7%. Conservative institutional estimates use 7 to 8% for long-term planning. Robert is choosing a guaranteed 3.25% over a historically probable 7 to 8% every month for 10 years. By 55, Robert has paid off his mortgage. He owns his house free and clear. He feels incredible. His net worth from that decision, roughly $280,000 in home equity that was already on its way to being his anyway. Now meet Daniel. Same age, same income, same $1,800 a month in disposable income. But Daniel kept making his regular mortgage payment and invested that $1,800 every month into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund instead. By 55, Daniel still has a mortgage, but he also has approximately $331,000 in his investment account at 7% average returns. His mortgage balance is around $180,000. His net financial position, $331,000 minus $180,000, is $151,000 ahead of Robert. Same income, same decade, same discipline. Daniel is $151,000 wealthier because he understood the math behind the emotional decision. And it compounds from there, because Daniel's $331,000 keeps growing. Robert has to start from zero in his investment account at 55, the decade before retirement, which is the worst possible time to start, because he has the least amount of time for compounding to work. This is what I call the equity illusion. Your home equity feels like wealth. It sits there, it's yours, nobody can take it. But equity locked in a house is the least productive form of wealth you can hold. It earns nothing. It doesn't compound. It doesn't throw off dividends. It just sits there, an inert asset, while your mortgage interest rate, the cost of accessing it, is almost certainly lower than what you'd earn investing that money instead. Think of it this way. Imagine someone offers you a loan at 3.5% interest. You can take that money and invest it in something that has historically returned 7 to 10% annually over every 20-year period in recorded market history. Do you take the loan? Every rational financial mind says yes. That's positive arbitrage. You borrow cheap and invest at a higher rate. Banks do this every single day. It's how they make money. Your mortgage is that loan, your home equity is the collateral, and every dollar you put toward early payoff is a dollar you're choosing not to deploy into the arbitrage. Now here's the nuance, because I want to be careful not to oversimplify this. There are three situations where paying off your mortgage early actually makes sense. And if you're in one of them, the math flips. First, if your mortgage rate is above 6 or 7%, if you bought or refinanced in 2023 or 2024 at 7.5% or higher, the guaranteed return from paying down that debt starts to rival or exceed expected market returns after tax. At that rate, the math is genuinely close, and the psychological value of being debt-free may tip the scales. Second, if you are within 5 years of retirement and your income is going to drop significantly. Sequence of returns risk. The danger that a market crash right before or early in retirement permanently impairs your portfolio becomes real at that stage. Eliminating your mortgage payment reduces your monthly expenses, which reduces how much you need to withdraw from your portfolio during a downturn. That's real protection with real value. Third, if carrying the debt genuinely prevents you from sleeping. Some people are not wired to hold debt while investing. The anxiety costs them returns anyway because they panic sell during corrections. If eliminating the mortgage converts you from an anxious investor who bails at the bottom into a calm investor who holds through volatility, the psychological value is real and it should factor into the decision. But for a 40-year-old with a 3.5% mortgage, a stable income, and 25 years until retirement, who is not maxing out tax-advantaged accounts, paying off the mortgage early instead of investing is almost certainly the wrong call. Full stop. Here's the 5-step framework for making this decision correctly in your own situation. Step 1. Find your mortgage interest rate and write it down. Not your monthly payment, your interest rate. This is the guaranteed return you earn on every dollar of early payoff. If it's below 5%, read carefully. If it's above 7%, the calculus changes meaningfully. Step 2. Ask whether you are maxing out every tax-advantaged account first. Your 401k to the employer match, then your Roth IRA, then your 401k to the full $23,500 limit. If you are not doing all of that before sending extra money to the mortgage, you are leaving guaranteed returns and tax-free growth on the table to chase a 3.5% return on debt payoff. The order of operations matters enormously. Tax-advantaged accounts first, always. Step 3. Compare your after-tax mortgage rate to your expected after-tax investment return. If you itemize deductions and deduct mortgage interest, your effective cost of the debt is even lower than the stated rate. A 4% mortgage with a 22% tax bracket and itemized deductions costs you effectively 3.12%. You are trying to beat 3.12% with your investments. Historically, that has not been difficult. Step 4. Build a specific number for what early payoff actually costs you. Use any compound interest calculator. Plug in the extra monthly payment you're considering sending to the mortgage. Run it at 7% for 20 years. That number, the future value of those investments you didn't make, is the price tag on your decision to pay off early. Most people have never run this calculation. They feel the emotional pull of debt elimination without ever pricing it out. Price it out. The number is usually shocking enough to change behavior. Step 5. If you still want to pay down the mortgage, make it a parallel strategy, not a replacement. Max your retirement accounts first. Build a 6-month emergency fund. Then, if there's still money left and early payoff serves a specific goal, like eliminating the payment before retirement, make extra principal payments as a third priority, not a first. Here's what I want you to understand about why this mistake is so common. Debt feels bad. Investing feels abstract. The mortgage statement arrives monthly, in your hands, concrete and real. The $150,000 you didn't build because you overpaid the mortgage never shows up anywhere. You can't see it. You can't feel its absence. It's a ghost wealth, the money that should have been yours but never materialized because you prioritized a feeling over a calculation. The financial industry understands this asymmetry perfectly. Mortgage companies market accelerated payoff programs. Banks sell biweekly payment plans that promise to shave years off your mortgage. These products are not designed for your benefit. They're designed around your discomfort with debt and your inability to viscerally feel the opportunity cost. The wealthy don't think about debt the way you were taught to think about debt. They think about the cost of capital. If the cost of the debt is lower than the expected return on investment, you hold the debt and invest the difference. Simple arbitrage, not moral, not immoral, math. A generation of middle-class families has been taught that debt is always the enemy and debt-free is always the goal. And that teaching, while emotionally satisfying, has quietly cost them retirement security they will never recover. The house will be yours eventually, either way. The mortgage gets paid whether you accelerate it or not. The question is what you do with the money in the meantime. And the answer for most people with low-rate mortgages and decades until retirement is to put it somewhere it can compound, not somewhere it can sit. Subscribe if the math landed differently than you expected. And tell me in the comments, are you team early payoff or team invest the difference? Because this one genuinely divides people and I want to hear where you land.